Arif, I think didn't I call you the most smart and handsome guy, the CEO of Summit Communication? Did I miss anyone? Moinul Hussain? Momen Hussain? Moinul Hussain, General Manager, Grameen Phone? Great. You see, this is really great panelist, and the topic today we have this 5G and IoT. Possibly you know that this is the only industry in Bangladesh, besides other industries, that we can be proud of. Because telecom, whatever is happening in Bangladesh or in other parts of the world, is at par. We are absolutely following the latest technology. Whatever you will see in the North America, Europe, or other part of the world, we are installing in Bangladesh. And whatever growth we are observing in Bangladesh, we will see this is a direct contribution from the telecom. And with the 5G introduction, telecom and IT will merge. Because 5G is a real game changer. I have been following 2G, 3G, 4G, but from 3G to 4G, possibly did not notice the difference. But 5G, trust me, this is absolutely game changer. With the 5G, IT will come in a big way. Software community will make a big role. And so we feel this is a very appropriate topic to discuss. This will be an interactive session. We'll listen from our great panelists, but we will also listen the views from the audience. In this regard, I'm requesting the Mushfiqur Rahman, who is the Vice President of BASIS, as well the convener of the Soft Expo 2020. Mushfiq.
Thank you, Almas Bhai. Assalamu alaikum and still good morning to you. Distinguished panelists from the telecom vertical, all the leaders from the telecom vertical for joining us, President Finance of BASIS, and also the convener of this event. I'm not sure how many of you have already visited our stall. This is a kind of a mega event, yearly what we just do in every year. This is the 16th event for the BASIS, and the BASIS as an apex body of IT association. We have tried to accumulate 360-degree of IT solutions to be showcasing in this Soft Expo by our more than 300 companies, so that all over also the students, they are aware of our capacity. Because according to the vision of the government, Honorable Prime Minister and the Honorable Export in terms of software and IDS services, again the local market is $1.3 billion. So the target from the government is $5 billion in terms of software, ITSS, and hardware products also, altogether by 2023. And also, right this moment, more than 1 million HR has been involved in this IT and IDS industry. And the target is 2 million by 2023. It's a daunting task for us, but together we need to achieve it. And how we can achieve it, and why we have tried to invite all of the stakeholders, just like telco also. Because with the advent of Industrial 4th Revolution, which is it's not a buzzword. Okay, it's not a buzzword, it's a reality now. So many scary stories are coming up regarding the job cut in almost every business and the industry, just like from the financial to manufacturing, from the retail and everywhere. Being a population of 160 million in Bangladesh, one of our main target, how we can make sure that these educated people are employable for our economic growth. Now, if the 5G, I'm sure by 2020, I believe that talking to Mustafa Zabbar Bhai and other stakeholders, if this 5G license is launched in 2020, there will be a revolution in Bangladesh in terms of bandwidth is concerned, and the telecom, whatever the frequency you say, that quality you say that. But the 5G, we think that we need to work with the telco company and our basis member companies hand to hand. Because the applications will explode. Different type of application, maybe citizen application, maybe business to business applications, maybe business to customer applications. And how we can take the leverage so that our local companies can work together with your telco companies. In that perspective, we would humbly request you, the panelists, and also the distinguished audience. It's really overwhelming. We are unable to give you the space. I'm trying how we can accommodate. That a lot of inputs will be coming up. And please try to accommodate those inputs so that from our basis perspective, what is our job? To ensure that we do advocacy for our advocacy. We work with different ministries so that whatever the recommendations comes from this seminar, we can pursue along with you. I wish all the best for this seminar, and thanks again for coming to Soft Expo 2020. Thank you so much.
We will try to structure the session to bringing the panelists and the audience in the same page. For that purpose, I will request Salam. We will run through a presentation. Afterwards, Mr. June from Huawei will also give us a presentation so that we will understand what is 5G, what are the opportunities for software communities, so that when we will have the discussion, you can interact properly. That's the intention, and I'm sure it will serve the purpose. Salam.
Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning. Thank you, Khaled, for arranging this. I think it will be super good for all of us to know, understand, interact, and know the challenges. And we have BTRC Commissioner also present here. So maybe together we will be able to address those challenges. I think I need to in English. I see some foreign friends, so maybe in English. The slides will come. Okay, before the slides come. So today's topic is 5G and IoT, Bangladesh ICT perspective. We are familiar with, right? I started back in 1995 with 1G. That was analog system. Then we have seen, right, the growth 2G, 3G, 4G, now we are talking 5G. So why all these Gs are coming, right? If you remember, first 1G was only for voice, right? We could not send or receive data. When 2G came, it was predominantly for voice, but we tried to accommodate data also within the system. But it was, of course, if you can remember, it was in KB, right? Kilobytes volume. Then we had 3G. Oh, now the slides are coming. Next one, please. Then we had 3G, and that probably started the mobile broadband, right? And if you remember, as an industry, the 3G came, the technology or the platform, but the people of the country actually came up with the use cases. What use cases we can have, right? If you remember, during those days, that whether we could, when we brought the technology or the platform, we didn't know that we will have Pathao, right? Or we will have hungrinaki.com. That we didn't know. Nobody knew. But when the platform came, you people, we people together have came up with all those applications, which are helping us to solve our problem, right? Our national problem, our societal problem, those are helping. Next one, please. Yeah. So, and you can see, probably every decade we get 1G, right? 80s, 90s, 2000, 2010. Now we are in 20s, we are talking 5G. Probably you all cannot see all those usage that is written here, but what I can see, then we had the 4G. So when we had 4G, we had better speed, lower latency. Now we are talking 5G. What 5G will give, right? So if you see 1G, 2G, 3G, first 1G we are connecting people. When we had 3G, 4G mobile broadband, we started to connect the things, right? And when we are talking 5G, we are saying that it is not only the people, but it's the all industries that will be revolutionized. all industries will become smart industry. I will show you some live example, couple of those from 5G and IoT. The next one, please. What 5G will give that 4G cannot give? Right? Very high level. In 4G, we are talking about tens of Mbps, right? 10, 20, 30s Mbps that we use today, right? We are saying latency around tens of millisecond, right? 30, 40 millisecond. We are saying X dollar cost per gigabyte. Say 1 gigabyte is $1, for example. And how many devices can be connected simultaneously? For example, in this room, we have, say, 200 people now, right? And I'm sure if you try to browse your phone, you will see the speed is low, right? Because so many people are accessing the service at the same time. Think about that within these premises, we have thousands of devices, thousands of machineries connected in IoT. How many we could connect in 4G? Say this is number Y. So in 5G, what will happen? We will get hundreds of Mbps. We will get ones of millisecond of delay, so meaning single digit. The cost per gigabyte, so meaning producing the bytes, it will be 1/10 of 4G. And device density will be 100 times more compared to 4G. These are on high level that 5G will give that 4G is not giving today. So now as a user, what we will get? Of course, higher speed, we understand. Lower latency, we understand, okay, it will be, if I make ping, it will respond quickly. But as an industry, how can I sell these things? How can I use these technological aspects to our benefit, right? So if a low latency system is there, first is how our friends, they will be able to sell this low latency capability to the users. Of course, everybody will not need low latency. So what 5G will even enable, that 5G will enable to slice the network. Slice means I will be able to divide the network capability according to the service need. For example, if I have a smart factory, maybe in those smart factory production, they will be needing very quick response. So I will dedicate a slice of the network for that factory, and that will not get impacted due to other usage of the rest of the part of the network. So the ecosystem players have to come forward to utilize such kind of capability. Then the business has to happen, right? Cost per gigabyte, it will go down, right? I'm sure everybody of us here, present here, we know that we are consuming more data than yesterday. Last month, the data volume I used, I am using more. So of course it will grow. I will show you on Bangladesh data that we see in our eyes how the data volume is increasing. And the device connectivity. So as it is 100 times more device it can connect compared to 4G. So in a factory, all the components of that factory production system can be connected using IoT. I'm showing here how it is happening across the globe today. So today Ericsson has like 24 live 5G networks across the globe, you can see. And we have 80 commercial 5G contracts. So it is happening today. It is happening today across the globe that you can see. It started probably late 2018. 2019 it happened most of those, and we see it is happening much faster than predicted. I will show you a graph as well for that. And if you see spectrum, the raw material for mobile communication is the spectrum, right? This is a natural resource. Nobody can produce, right? So we have to use it for our industry. 5G, as of now, we are talking sub-gigahertz, which is like 600, 700 megahertz band. And you can see which countries are using sub-gigahertz band spectrum. European Union, you can see USA, T-Mobile is there using 600 megahertz. Mid-band, probably the most popular 5G band, 3.4 to 3.8 gigahertz. You can see number of countries have come last 2 years using that 3.5 gigahertz. And the higher band is like 26 gigahertz and 28 gigahertz. You can see some of the countries have gone into the higher band as well. So what is the benefit of going into higher band? Maybe you can follow. In 3G, 4G, we use spectrum block of 5 megahertz or 10 megahertz block, right? And the available bandwidth is less. The higher we go, we get the higher bandwidth. So higher bandwidth means bigger pipe, so I can send more bits at the same time. But the problem comes with higher spectrum is it goes shorter distance compared to lower spectrum. So solution provider like Ericsson, they have come up with solution how can we integrate the capability of both the bands, meaning the lower band for the coverage and higher band for the capacity. We can combine together so that the service providers like Robi, Grameenphone, they can utilize the benefit of both the spectrum bands simultaneously. I will not go into details on that. And the other part is the devices, right? Very integral part of mobile broadband. Next one. So device availability. I will show here, the devices availability. I think in the range of hundreds of devices have come in the market in all these different kinds of bands. In the sub-gigahertz, in the mid-band 3.5, and higher band 26, 28 gigahertz. And those devices, maybe it will come in the next slide. Those devices are available in all sorts of form, like a handheld device or router or tablet, that kind of device. I'll show probably in the next slide. This picture shows that what is the uptake of technology in a fixed period of time. Say, for example, 5 years. Since the adoption of the technology, 4G, that is started, in 5 years, how much it has globally reached out. Say, for example, in 4G, in 5 years, it reached around 600 million people. And on the upper curve, you can see that in same 5 years' time, the length of time since the inception of 5G, we can see it is almost double that we predict. So the meaning is the 5G adoption will be much quicker, much faster than the 4G adoption. And I think it is not different from our country as well. If you think about in 5 years' time, since the 1G came, how many people reached to the mobile phone? And then how long it took for the same people to get into 5G, right? So meaning that the newer technology, people in general, and it's nothing different in our country also, that people adopt the technology much faster than before. So basically we say that, the changes will never be slow again like this. That was the device slide I was talking about. Around hundreds of devices in different formats available today. This is Bangladesh. Very interesting. The blue curve shows per user per month data usage. Average, right? So in Bangladesh, in 2018, average people, together all of us, Bangladesh, we used 1.2 GB data per month. So in 2019, these are actual figure. In 2019, it was like 1.9 GB per user per month. And then we are forecasting for 2020, 21, 22, 23, 24. We are forecasting these numbers. For example, we are saying 2021, per user average data usage will be 5 GB. Our friends from service provider will be able to tell much better. But what we see, roughly every year, it gets roughly double. I give you some data point. In India today, average subscriber, they consume 10 GB data. We are in the range of 2 GB. In Malaysia, they are around 15 GB. So what we are saying that in 4 years' time, in 2023, we will be reaching 10 GB. And to me, it is probably a bit conservative. It will be even more aggressive than this. That is the blue curve. And the green bar that we are showing the total country data volume. For example, in 2018, we had 2.5 petabyte, the scale is petabyte per day. And then 2019, it was 4.8, so roughly double. And subsequently, this is our forecast. In Ericsson, we forecast that it will be growing like this. And trust me, if we meet 2 years from today, 4 years from today, you check this data, I guarantee it will surpass. It will surpass. Probably it is very conservative. Now, what does it mean to us? This volume of data that is coming and will be coming, how do we accommodate this data? How do we transport this much of data? Right? So that's how the 5G come in. You know, service providers, they have established a network, right? Towers in the country, and establishing a tower is a lot of money. Right? So to carry this data, if I say that, okay, you deploy another 10,000 sites, they will kick me out. The second option is add more spectrum. Right? And spectrum is highly costly in this country also, though we have a lot of spectrum not in use. For example, in 2100 megahertz, 1/3 of the spectrum is sitting idle. I don't understand who is getting benefited out of this, but that is reality, right? 1/3 of the spectrum sitting idle for 5 years, 7 years, right? 2013 we got 3G. Spectrum is also costly. If spectrum were, it is available, but it was affordable, then we could probably add spectrum in the existing sites. But that also operators are not able to do. So what is the other thing is probably go in the higher technology, right? 5G. So you have seen the 5G cost per gigabyte is less, but of course they need to have the 5G spectrum also, but the spectrum is wider, right? So that's how this, the cost is going down, but it has to be properly priced as well. But at least the width is higher, right? So that is the first and foremost use case for 5G is the enhanced mobile broadband. So as this data is exploding, so this additional spectrum in the 5G, the new technology will be able to accommodate this data. First and foremost. And the second one is, we call FWA, fixed wireless access. So we say you don't need to have fiber in your home, you can have FWA, wireless fiber experience without fiber using wireless. That is the second use case that we say in the industry. The other thing is like, you know, massive IoT, critical IoT, automation, industry 4.0, all those use cases will slowly evolve. It will not happen next morning. But those things, enhanced mobile broadband, FWA, those will happen first, and then those things will come. This is one example from IoT perspective, Industry 4.0. I have shown a lot of probably industries here. You can see ABB, whatnot, like power, pharmaceutical, ICT, many industries. I will give you at least one use case that is a smart manufacturing plant that Ericsson is very humble that we established the first smart factory in the world. It's in China. So what happened in the radio production, in the production line, these high precision screwdrivers, those were made smart using IoT devices. And what it would do that, you know, before it fails, we would be able to know that it is going to fail or it needs lubrication, those kind of information. So using that cost around $180 per screwdriver, high precision screwdriver, and it was paid back in less than 6 months' time. So, I mean, you can think that any manufacturing plant or industry have those kind of wire and tear type of parts. Those can easily be integrated into the system using IoT devices, right? In Bangladesh, I always probably say this, is garments factory, our biggest industry of the country. We earn 80%, more than 80% for foreign exchange from garments. Probably we can think of, right? That the massive scale, massive opportunity, right? If we could modernize, something is happening even today, right? Those garments factories are getting smarter, even bringing robots. But if we could make all those industries smarter, then of course our garments industry can go to the next level and bringing efficiencies, time to market, and all this, right? Uh, what is next? Oh, of course, it's not so smooth, as I say. There are challenges, right? Human resources, first one is we need to learn, we need to know so that we can support our journey ourselves. Thriving end-to-end 5G ecosystem plan. It's not only service provider, it's not only technology provider, it's not only fiber provider, it's not only handset provider, it's not only content provider. It's everybody together because, for example, we all do and there is no fiber. Right? In Bangladesh, around 20-25% sites are fiberized today. It's not that much, right? So it will not work, right? So we do everything, but the content is not there, right? It doesn't work, right? So we all need to together, synchronized, we need to plan and execute. Spectrum, the most important part, right? We need to have affordable spectrum. Fiberization, I said 20%, happy everybody is here. 20% sites are fiberized. We need fiber, right? Of course, microwave does support 5G. Microwave as a technology has come forward a long, and it supports 5G at the last mile. Yes, it does, and microwave also got MIMO technology to use even 28 gigahertz or 28 megahertz or 56 megahertz bandwidth using MIMO technology. 5G is supported, and we have deployment in some countries, but we need more fiber. Tower. Right? Tower companies, because we have our policies there. So we all need to function together, otherwise it will not happen. So probably summarizing is what is the key takeaway is we need to work together. We have tremendous potential. The growth potential is huge. Even today, unique user penetration in this country is 56%, below 60%, right? And our young generation is coming more and more. Our median age of the population is 24 years, exactly the best for mobile broadband to go forward. The industry transformation, we don't have that much of legacy, so the opportunity is huge. We need to work together. And we all know mobile broadband has direct connectivity with our GDP growth. So we really need to prioritize this, address those challenges and move forward together. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Salam. What we understand or we understood that our technology is all about speed, capacity, and latency. So if I understood Salam correctly, this latency will be almost zero. That means we'll have a fixed line kind of experience with wireless industry. That's a huge thing, I'm sure. So thank you for your exciting information. We like to now hear from Eric, Huawei point of view from June.
Okay. Okay, I can control it. It's too close. Okay, good morning. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I'm June, and I'm from Huawei. I'm very honored to have this chance to present something to you. In general, I agree with Mr. Salam's opinion, so I don't want to repeat something there. And I might show something from some other angle. Okay. The slide is here. Let's wait for it. Okay, it's on. All right. Sorry for the inconvenience. I have been working in this industry for about 20 years, and I think most of you can see what happened in the past 20 years. In just only 20 years, all of these gadgets were put inside our pocket. What was there? What is it? Camera? Video player? CD player? Calculator? Even Kindle. So it seems that you have everything in your hands, but it only took around 20 years. When I graduated, I had a CD player, and it cost me almost $200. But now, with $200, you can get everything here. So with only one instrument, maybe only one smartphone or one tablet. So that's how technology changes us. That is in the past 20 years. So what will it happen in future? We're not sure, right? Here I take an example. See, like I said, how we listen to music. When I was in high school, we used a cassette player, and then when I was in university, CD player. After that, after I graduated, I used one Nokia, and I even also used Active. But now, Nokia is still somewhere, right? But very few people use it. However, smartphone is everywhere. But how we listen to music? You know, before we download it, it was on something like a disk. But now, we use our smartphone. But in future, shall we still need to download it? No. You only need to listen from somewhere you don't know. It's in some server, or it's even in other country. So let's see how this kind of network will make this happen. Doesn't work? Okay. So here we try to simplify the network. We classify it as 3 layers. You know, before when we talk about the network, it has a lot of elements. Core network, transmission, radio, whatever. But when we simplify the network, it becomes 3 layers. One is the interface. The second one is the connectivity. And then the third is cloud. So in future, we can say everything will be on the cloud. Then here, it's like a pipe. It's like you pipe water from the interface, like in industry, internet, like IoT, and your smartphone, your tablet, your PC. Then all the traffic goes to the connection, goes to operators, it goes to NTTN. And then on the top, it's cloud. It might be Microsoft, might be Alibaba, might be Amazon, and it also can be Huawei. So this kind of network is there, but you don't feel it. You only have your smartphone, you don't see it. But make this network simplified is very important because low latency is required, and a broadband is required. And Huawei plays a major role here. For this kind of purpose, we separate our business into several groups. The first one is the digital, we call it CBG, Consumer Business Group. We provide smart devices. Wherever you can see, I've noticed that many of you are using Huawei smartphones. Thank you. And then secondly, it's about the connectivity. Connectivity is not only provided from operators, it's also provided by enterprises. So here we provide our solution and we cooperate with not only operators, but also governments and companies. And then the third one is about computing and cloud. For this kind of purpose, we set up another new business group, cloud business group. So from end to end, we try to serve the society and bring more broadband and high efficiency to this industry. You know, maybe many of you know that Huawei was founded in 1987. We are not that old yet, we are only 33 years old. And here, we already have almost 200,000 employees now, and with 45% of them are working in R&D. So now we serve more than 170 countries, and with our ranking in the Fortune Global 500, we rank number 63 61, yes, that's what we achieved so far. Here, let's see how we worked on the 5G. We started our R&D in 5G since 2009, and we invested more than $4 billion US. So nowadays, our patents is the most among all the suppliers and all the other institutes. Here, as Mr. Salam already mentioned, now more and more countries are awarding the spectrum, and more countries have launched the commercial 5G network. Here, according to the report, 2.6 giga and the C-band, which is 3.1, are the most popular spectrums. And around Bangladesh, we notice quite a lot of countries now have the plan to launch 5G networks in this year. So we think it's about the time for Bangladesh to have 5G to be introduced, either 2021 or 2022. Here, let's have a look. Sorry. Where's the receiver? Okay. As we know, Bangladesh released a 4G license in 2018, and now, as we forecast, the peak will happen at around 2023. We predict that 2021 5G will be introduced into this country, and we predict that by 2025, the traffic and the applications will surpass 4G by that time. This is our prediction. And what we think is that 4G is still the experience foundation while 5G is beginning. In Bangladesh, now the towers is a bottleneck. We noticed that in Bangladesh, the physical towers maybe around 15,000. Maybe it's about that. But you know how many in China? It's more than 2 million. It's more than 2 million towers. So to ensure a good experience and a high quality perception of subscribers, we need more towers, especially when 5G comes. The bandwidth is even, the spectrum is even higher, as Mr. Salam mentioned. We'll use 3.5 giga. That means the radiation, the coverage is even shorter. Then we need more towers. Before we really go to 5G, we need to get it ready. And even now, actually 4G coverage is not that perfect yet. So we need to hurry up. Otherwise, we can see here, the perception of subscribers in 5G will be a problem because 5G network will provide our users 1 giga per user. But 4G, according to our testing now, 20, 30 mega. So that kind of gap is huge. We hope that with our efforts, this kind of gap will be minimized. From consumer internet to industry internet is the difference between 4G and 5G. 5G will drive a lot of applications in industries. It will change our industry, not only for suppliers, not only for end users, but also for operators. Operators, before it was more about the B2C business, but in 5G, with this kind of capability like low latency and massive connection, it will enable them to have more B2B business, like in some other countries, and also as Mr. Salam mentioned, like the smart factory, and also like in China, we have smart mining, smart port, like in Shanghai, the world's almost biggest port. Now, you don't see drivers, you don't see workers there. It's automatic. With 5G capability, it's automatic. And even for the mining, you can remotely control the machine control or drive the car. So it's already there. And especially like this time when we have corona crisis in China, because it's effective. So Huawei provided the 5G medical equipment. So with this kind of capability, the doctors can remotely diagnose the patients because it's low latency and very wide bandwidth. And time to market is overnight. If you lay out fiber, it takes months. But with 5G, you can overnight have this kind of service. Okay, so here we see that the industry demand is booming. All machines, all the smart devices will be connected. We see the huge potential from industries, and this will change all the society. Here is about the IoT. In fact, when we talk about the IoT, we think more about the platform. As a supplier, Huawei provides this kind of platform, and we ourselves will provide all the smart devices. And then we have an ecosystem, especially in China and Asia. We have a lot of partners who develop the smart devices and get connected with Huawei platform to enable the industries and the digital lives for individuals and also enterprises. This is our capability, and this is what we are doing. I think we need more time to nurture this kind of ecosystem in Bangladesh. So, what will 5G will bring to us? And actually, we say all things sensing, all things connected, and all things intelligent. We predict that all the enterprise, 100%, will be on cloud in future. So that's a very big difference from now on. When we talk about the hardware of data center or cloud, we usually use, we have a server, we have storage, and we have switchers. And Huawei now provide all of these. We call it Kunlun. And in fact, we now want to build an ecosystem again. So in near future, we want to seal the model with Huawei chipset embedded. Then we have the partners locally to assemble or design servers and then build up the industry locally. That's our mission. And we hope that in near future, in Bangladesh, we can set up this kind of ecosystem together with our local partners. Okay, this is about the cloud, as I said. Cloud is the future. And in Bangladesh, we started this kind of development. We now see a lot of companies put the data in cloud, but here are two challenges in Bangladesh. One thing is that most enterprises have not put their data on cloud. And then the second one is that some data of these companies is kept overseas, it's not local. So we think the best way, and it's necessary for the data security, the data need to be kept locally. And secondly, all the enterprises need to consider when they need to put the service on the cloud so as to improve the efficiency and save the cost. Otherwise, you need to buy servers by yourself, you need to set up a data center, or you need to rent one. But if you move your service to cloud, it's over one night, and the cost is very limited. So like in other countries, whether Thailand, Malaysia, or China, now all governments try to put their service on cloud. They try to avoid setting up their own data center and buying servers, storage by themselves. And in Bangladesh, I think this is the future, and it will improve the society's efficiency and the competence of all enterprises. Okay, let's about it. So in general, I want to emphasize that here are three layers. One thing is about the device. And one thing about the device is that 5G phone is available And it's not only available, actually, it's getting very popular. In China, we think by the end of this year, very cheap smartphone will be available. We expect the price will drop as low as $150. Then it's very affordable for everybody here. So I think from device perspective, Bangladesh could be ready for 5G by next year. And then the second layer is about the connection. When we talk about connection, we suggest that towers, transmission, submarine cable need to be ready before 5G comes, because that takes a long time to deploy. If you don't have this kind of facility, even you deploy 5G, there is no bigger space. So this is the second thing. The third thing is about cloud. So as I mentioned, cloud is the future. I hope that we don't waste so money in buying servers or storage from every company, for every company. So why not move it to cloud and keep the cloud here to improve the perception and to save the cost and for the security reason. So that's what I want to deliver here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jun. It's very impressive information. Now we can see there's Huawei's a big contribution to make 5 things happening. Another part was very interesting. They are investing $4 billion plus in R&D, and they have almost equal footprint like Ericsson as far as commercial deployment is happening. So the idea was to align audience with technology. Now we will quickly take through panelists with interaction by themselves. I will start with mine. I'm Khalid Shams. I have been in this industry for last 30 years. As I said, I have seen 1G, 2G, 3G, 4G like Salam. And I'm still, I have some other verticals of business, but I still love telecom. I have some engagement in telecom and IT still. So I will start with Arif. If you introduce yourself and you pass the mic.
Thank you, Khalid. My name is Arif Al-Islam. I'm Managing Director and CEO Summit Communications.
I'm Shamsur Rahman Tutul. I'm working as the Head of Planning in Robi.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Taimur. I'm the Chief Corporate and Regulatory Affairs Officer in Banglalink. Having experience in telecom for the last 26 years, 16 years in vendors, and then in the Grameenphone, and then also Banglalink. So this is where I am now.
Okay, again, I'm Jun. So I'm Jun Zhang, so just call me Jun, please. And I'm the CEO of Huawei Bangladesh. You know, Huawei have been in Bangladesh for 21 years. Bangladesh was almost the, it was the first batch of countries that we try to develop overseas. So we have very deep feeling. We have very deep feelings for this country. And personally, I have been here for 1.5 years, and I feel here people are very nice, and we want to develop the industry together with all of you.
Assalamu alaikum. আমি মোহাম্মদ আমিনুল হাসান, কমিশনার স্পেকট্রাম বিটিআর সিদ্ধাসী। ধন্যবাদ।
Good morning, everyone. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Syed Farouk Ahmed. I have been with Cisco Systems in USA for 23 years. I had many roles. One thing I would like to say that around late 1990, our CEO stated one time that voice should be free. Why people have to pay for voice? So everybody at that time thought that this guy is a crazy guy. They had this telephony technology for 50 years or so. They invested billions of dollars. We used to call them nailers at that time, which is Nortel, Ericsson, Lucent, Alcatel, Siemens. And basically, those companies no longer exist because voice over IP took over. The technology was a huge change event. So saying that, 5G will change everything of our life, the way we work, play, and live. Before Cisco Systems, I worked at IBM for 8 years. And before that, I worked for Northern Telecom or Nortel for 7 years. Recently, I joined Bracknet as the CEO, so I've been here for the last 6 months. Thank you.
Thank you. Abdus Salam, Ericsson থেকে. Ericsson is present in Bangladesh more than 23 years. I am with Ericsson 18 years, so it's a long journey. It's a good journey.
Good morning and assalamu alaikum. I am Modin Momin, working as General Manager and Head of Code Services Planning and Deployment in Grameenphone. So my total working experience in this industry is around 14 years with a mix of both operator and vendor. Thank you.
Besides our accomplished panelists, we have two distinguished guests. May I introduce Mr. A.K. Morshed. He is the former CTO of Robi, Exiata. And we have Binod from Sri Lanka. Please wave hands to audience. He is the CEO of Ericsson in Sri Lanka. So give them a big hand. Thank you for coming. So we will now have this exciting discussion, I hope, and I will start with our Honorable Commissioner, Mr. Aminul Hassan. He is in fact, he will drive our game plan. So he is heading the frequency part of BTRC, and we like, because the C5G will happen, we would need a policy guideline. We would need the vision of BTRC, particularly the spectrum, what spectrum will come, because we just followed that in Thailand. They are doing the auction. They have doing it 700 megahertz, 1800, 2.6 giga and 26 gigahertz. Very exciting. It's a multi-band. So what will be our BTRC vision for 5G? I'm pretty sure you're excited to start as fast as possible. So, but from industry readiness, BTRC readiness, and as well the time plan from your perspective.
ধন্যবাদ খালেদ শামস। উনি আমার পূর্ব পরিচিত, আমরা টেলিটকে ছিলাম, উনি সিমেন্সে ছিল, সেই হিসাবে তার সঙ্গে পরিচয়, এবং ওনাকে এখানে পেয়ে আমি খুব খুশি। বিশেষ করে আমি এটার ড্রাইভিং ফোর্স না, ড্রাইভিং ফোর্স হচ্ছে ওই যে সেমিনারের পিছনে দেখেন সিট নাই তো দাঁড়ায় আছে। 5G ইমপ্লিমেন্টেশনে বর্তমান সরকার যে ম্যানিফেস্টো দিচ্ছে, ইলেকশন ম্যানিফেস্টো, তাতে 21 থেকে 23-এর মধ্যে তারা 5G ইন্ট্রোডিউস করবে এই দেশে। এবং আমরা 4G লঞ্চ করি ফেব্রুয়ারি 2018-তে। 18-তে লঞ্চ করার পরপরই আমরা জুলাই মাসে হোয়াই এবং রবি এদের সহায়তায় একটা 5G শোকেসিং করি। বিটিআরসি সেখানে ফ্রিকোয়েন্সি দেয়, তাতে আমরা 4.6 Gbps স্পিড অ্যাচিভ করি। তখন সেখানে আমাদের মাননীয় প্রধানমন্ত্রীর উপদেষ্টা জনাব সজীব ওয়াজেদ জয় ছিলেন, এবং মাননীয় মন্ত্রী আমাদের মোস্তফা জব্বার, সবার প্রিয়, উনি সেখানে ছিলেন। তখন আমরা বুঝতে পারি যে এটা আমাদের এখন এগিয়ে যেতে হবে। সেখানে বিটিআরসি যেহেতু একটা পিভোটাল পয়েন্টে থাকে, সব স্টেক হোল্ডাররা আমাদের সঙ্গে আছে আমাদের, সুতরাং আমরা সবাইকে নিয়ে আমরা একটা উদ্যোগ নিলাম যে আমরা 5G আমরা এগিয়ে যাব সামনের দিকে। ইন্ট্রোডাকশন কবে হয় সেটা আমরা দেখতে চেষ্টা করলাম। ইনফর্মাল মিটিং অনেকগুলো করার পরে আমরা ফর্মালি একটা বড় ধরনের সেমিনার করি 5G সম্পর্কে, এবং গত ডিজিটাল মেলা যারা গিয়েছেন তারা দেখছেন যে অনারেবল অ্যাডভাইজার সে বলছে যে অন্যান্য দেশ যখন 5G করবে আমরা তখন করব। এবং আমরা তখন সাজেস্ট করেছিলাম 2.6 গিগাহার্টসে, তো উনি বলেন যে আরও হায়ার ফ্রিকোয়েন্সিতে নয় কেন, সেখানে আমরা 3.5টাকেও নিয়ে এসেছি। সুতরাং এখানে প্রায় 170 মেগাহার্টস দুইটি চাঙ্কে, এবং যে আনসোল্ড ফ্রিকোয়েন্সি আছে আমাদের 30 মেগাহার্টস, এই বিশাল একটা ফ্রিকোয়েন্সিকে আমরা রিলিজ করার চেষ্টা করেছি। বাধাটা কোথায়? বাধাটা হচ্ছে 2.6-এ কিছু বিডব্লিউ অপারেটর আছে, যাদের কিছু অল্প সংখ্যক গ্রাহক আছে। আপনারা জানেন যে বিডব্লিউ অপারেটরের যে গ্রাহক এখন ততটা পপুলার না আর কি, আসলে তাদের গ্রাহক সংখ্যা খুব কমে গেছে, একটা সার্ভাইভ করতে না পেরে চলে গেছে। আরেকজন টিকে আছে এখনও বাজারে, আরেকজনের কোনো সাবস্ক্রাইবার নেই। 3 জনের মধ্যে একজন মাত্র টিকে আছে। তো তাকে আমরা বিভিন্নভাবে আমরা তাকে পারসুয়েট করছি যে তোমার ইউ ক্যানট সার্ভাইভ এ হেয়ার এবং এই ফ্রিকোয়েন্সিটা আমাদের দরকার। এবং যেটা 3.5-এ আছে সেটা হচ্ছে সেখানে আইএসপি আছে 11 জন আইএসপি আছে, তাদের গ্রাহক সংখ্যা খুব বেশি নয়, 3000-এর মতন হবে। তো তাদেরকে আমরা একদিকে নিয়ে আসতে পারবো, আমরা কারো গলা টিপে চেপে ধরবো তা করব না, আমরা তাদেরকে যে সার্ভাইভ করতে চায় তাকে সার্ভাইভ করব, যে এগিয়ে যেতে চায় তাকে এগিয়ে যেতে দিব। বিটিআরসি আসলে পোস্ট অ্যান্ড টেলিকম ডিভিশনের একটি রেগুলেটরি সংস্থা, আমরা নীতি সহায়তা দিয়ে থাকি, উই ডোন্ট ইমপ্লিমেন্ট এনিথিং। ইমপ্লিমেন্ট করবে আমাদের অপারেটররা যারা আছে, রবি, গ্রামীণ ফোন, বাংলা লিঙ্ক, টেলিটক, এরা ইমপ্লিমেন্ট করবে। এদেরকে নীতি সহায়তা দেওয়া। স্পেকট্রাম জাতীয় সম্পদ, ইট ইজ ভেরি এক্সপেন্সিভ আমাদের থার্ড ওয়ার্ল্ডের জন্য। এটাকে আমরা চেষ্টা করছি বৃহৎ আকারে স্পেকট্রাম রিলিজ করার জন্য। এটার প্রাইস কী হবে আমি বলছি না, উই উইল মেক ইট অ্যাভেলেবল। আমরা তাদেরকে কনভিন্স করবো যে তোমাদের এই দামে তোমরা কিনতে পারো, তোমরা কেনো। ওরা আমাদের কনভিন্স করবে এই দামে আপনার দেওয়া উচিত, আপনারা দিচ্ছেন না কেন। ইট ইজ এ বার্গেইন। আমি রাষ্ট্রীয় সম্পদ, আমি কাস্টোডিয়ান, আমরা কাস্টোডিয়ান, এটার জলের দামে দিতে পারি না, আবার এমন উচ্চ মূল্য করতে পারবো না যাতে জনগণ সেবা না পায়, এরকম এই সিচুয়েশনে যাওয়া যাবে না। সেই জন্য আমরা এবার থেকে আগে থেকেই সবাইকে নিয়েই এমটপের প্রতিনিধি, মানে ওদের মোবাইল ফোন অপারেটর আছে, আইসিটির মানে যারা বিডব্লিউ আছে, আইএসপি আছে, সবার সঙ্গে সারাই আমাদের কমিটিতে আছে। একাডেমিক্স বুয়েট আছে আমাদের কমিটিতে। আমরা সবাই বসে এটার প্রাইসিংটা কী হবে ঠিক করব, কোন কোন জায়গায় দিচ্ছি সেটা ঠিক করব, কখন রিলিজ হবে সেটা ঠিক করব। আমরা রিলিজ করছি আমাদের ফার্স্ট কোয়ার্টার আমরা গাইডলাইনটা তৈরি করে ফেলবো 2020 এই বছর। আমরা সেকেন্ড কোয়ার্টারে যে সমস্ত আইএসপি এবং বিডব্লিউ আছে তাদের ফ্রিকোয়েন্সি তাদেরকে সরিয়ে আনার চেষ্টা করব, যাদের ব্যবহার নেই তাদেরকে আমরা ফ্রিকোয়েন্সিটাকে উইথড্র করব। এবং থার্ড কোয়ার্টারে আমরা স্পেকট্রামের প্রাইসিংটা ঠিক করব, এবং ফোর্থ কোয়ার্টারে আমরা অকশনে যাব। এটা হচ্ছে আমাদের মোটা দাগে আমাদের প্ল্যানটা এরকম। আর আমরা 2021-এর শুরুতে 5G শুরু করতে চাই। এখন আমাদের সমস্ত পরিবেশ পরিস্থিতি আমরা সেই দিকে নেওয়ার চেষ্টা করছি। আমাদের সরকার আমাদের সহায়তা দিচ্ছেন, আমাদের কোনো জায়গায় ঠেকে গেলে আমাদেরকে বলছেন যে কী করতে হবে। আমরা সবার সঙ্গে যোগাযোগ রেখেই কাজটা করতে চাই যাতে এটা সুষ্ঠুভাবে ইমপ্লিমেন্টেশন হয়।
Thank you, Amir. Listen, bhai. So what we see that 5G will require a lot of new sites. And if I take from the June point of view, that introduction of 5G will require a kind of advanced planning from both regulator side, from operator side, vendor community. And also Salam said the fiber connectivity of the site is only 20%, am I right? So there are a lot need to be done. And the NTTN operator, specifically Samit, and we have a few more, will play a big role. I don't know whether you guys are understanding the volume of activities or responsibility is coming to you guys, that how to connect, because we have, first of all, June said, we don't have many sites. We need to build a lot of, and 5G will require many more sites what we have today. So this fiber connectivity will be key for 5G success. I will come to Arif. What is preparation from your point of view, and how you think that you can address the market?
Hello. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you, Shams, for putting the very relevant question. And for 5G, after the successful launch of 3G and 4G, and 5G is knocking at our door. Just before I just address your question directly, I would, since the audience don't always get to see our work, because we work behind the scene. We connect all the mobile operators, ISPs, cable TVs, and government from behind the scene. So you need to know a little bit more about us. I just want to give probably a few minutes brief. Summit Communication over last 10 years has grown from practically nothing to about 47,000 kilometer nationwide network. That means we connect all the districts, all the upajilas, and 30% of the unions. And just for you to understand the size of the network, I'm not trying to boast about ourselves, but just to give you a visualization effect. If we pick one of the largest mobile operator in the country and take their transmission network, our transmission network would be at least 10 to 12 times larger than the largest mobile operator's transmission network. And that includes that in terms of the physical fiber size, also in terms of the hardware and software nodes, and also the number of transmission links, VPN links, being transported through this network on a daily and hourly and per second basis. So based on that, we will be pretty big size and a pretty complex network. So our team consists of pretty many telco planning experts and O&M experts. Most of the people who are taking VRS from the different telcos are joining our network. And when they join the network, they keep on telling how extensive the network and how difficult complexity is involved. That was difficult to perceive earlier when they were on the other side. So now slowly get to the real point on the 5G. When 3G and 4G happened, we were more early stage of our transformation from growing from a small operator to a very big operator. But for now, we are nearly there. We are nearly there all over the country in terms of the staff, support, resources being available. So I give you one by one. In terms of the fiber availability, what we talked that 20% currently connected. Honestly speaking, we can connect many more. If we get like, naturally you said rightly that there is a lead time involved. The fibers need to be imported and the routers and the physical laying of the fiber takes certain time. Given there is certain lead time is provided, we can connect any number of sites, if not 100%, maybe 70, 80% of the site in couple of years' time. So we have that kind of business plan ready. Only thing is naturally fiber is little more expensive than the microwave. So business case is an issue. So operators are not always choosing fiber over microwave until unless the operator's capacity has gone higher, and business case wise, it is more feasible to go for fiber. So operators demand, if the demand is forthcoming with lot more volume growth, we are very much ready to provide with the services. So availability, fiber availability is there, and in our network, the fiber is connected with the routers, and the routers has decent capacity, and we are continuously upgrading those capacities. Then comes the quality. Quality comes in few forms, like the O&M quality, like the jitter, latency, and all of those. Network availability, which is more dependent on the passive. And also if there is issues, how do we do the fault finding? So I address one by one. In terms of the quality of services, we are today prioritizing the voice over data. This is one of the demand of the mobile operators, that you need to prioritize voice over data, and that has been successfully implemented. Number two, in terms of those flapping and latency and those kind of issues, we are already doing script rerouting. So anytime there is a flapping or there is any ping loss is not available, the system will automatically reroute online real time rather than any manual intervention. So that is also being fully tested and implemented in operators network. We have 24/7 NOC, fully manned in shifts, and they are continuously, there are engineers, there are experts, some of my colleagues are here as well, work very hard day and night, taking the different service recipients' challenges and solve it on immediately. In terms of getting the, what do you call this, you need DWDM closer to the access layer, because in 5G, for us to reduce the latency, you need to have the DWDM or core network getting closer to the access network, so that you have a less number of hop, and if you have less number of hop, then latency is lower. So that's one of the kind of expectation from the mobile operators when they will do 5G. And that's again a business case issue. We are getting slowly increasing our DWDM network, expanding closer to the access layer. So that will happen over time. We have not immediately gone there. And we think if we can work out proper business models, pricing model with our customers, we will be able to do that as well. The last but not the least, we are also contemplating to do the modern, adopting the modern technology like 1588, V2, those kind of things being adopted in the network. So hopefully we will be there. So there was this kind of myth before 3G and 4G, particularly from our customers, whether our transport network will be ready. So when 3G orders came and the 4G order came, today we have about over 4,000 mobile operators base stations dependent on us. And we are mostly meeting the SLAs, both in network availability parameter as well as quality parameters. But it's a teamwork. Our customers and we need to work hand in hand every day. And for future development, we need to continue to optimize the both end. So we have been doing that, and that has been slowly giving lot of improvement. So hopefully we will be there, and we are pretty confident. Thank you.
Thanks, Arif. I have specific questions about quality, but I will come back to you in later stage. We have Taimur here. He has been following, I think he's one of the oldest in the regulatory environment work, So I like to hear from you, Taimur. Do you think this current regulatory environment is kind of suitable for 5G launch in the country?
I think the commissioner is just beside me, so I don't want to...
Feel free. I'm sure he is with you.
No, I think before we go to 5G, I just want to point out some numbers, right? So basically, in 2013, we launched 3G. In 2018, mid, we started 4G, right? And what do we have right now in terms of handset penetration? Because that's the most important thing. As of now, we have got only 40% of users having a smartphone. Out of that, 30% are handsets with 4G enabled, only 30%. And only 15% are using 4G. And we're anticipating to launch 5G within the next 10 months. Well, but that's an issue that we have that, of course, how do we launch 5G when the 4G has not even drawn us money? And some other numbers that I would also like you to understand. Like, yes, GSMA, what they had mentioned in last NWC is that, from 2019 to 2025, data growth will be 400%, but if we stay as is, the operators, our revenue growth will be 1%. So that's the challenge that as operators we have. Coming back to Bangladesh, right? We actually grow data of 400% since 2018. Data has really grown to 400%. But the contribution from data has only grown by 5%. So you see the challenge of the operators that we have got. Like growth of data, consumption is hitting really a hockey stick, but the revenue is basically plummeting. If I talk about Banglalink, only in 2018, the growth had been around 80% of data, but the revenue was degrowth, around 5%. So this is a real challenge that how do we really monetize the data? And now, if we want to again have 5G with more spectrum, of course, sir has actually said that with the pricing of the spectrum will be discussed and all. Like right now, what we had paid for spectrum in 2100 band was $27 million per megahertz, and for 1800 it was $31 million per megahertz. Salam Bhai just said that 5G can do 100 megahertz. Can you tell me how much spectrum is required for 100 megabits per second? At least 40? So 40, if we have like $30 million megahertz, 40 megahertz will cost us $1.2 billion. And our ARPU is like less than 90 taka now. So does it make sense economically to really have 5G now if the spectrum price remains as is? So I would say like for 5G, of course, we would be interested for 5G, but again, the handset availability is one big query. 4G is still not there, so 5G, what will it be? Again, I feel that 5G will really be niche. Yes, the government has this idea of launching 5G, and I think it's a requirement of the Honorable ICT Advisor too. We don't want to be left behind. I think that's what he wants. Bangladesh is moving forward. We don't want to be left behind. But of course, if we now come to the regulatory requirements, I guess huge change is required, huge change. Because right now, if we see the telecom regulations is different from the ICT regulations, which is pretty weird because telecom regulations is pretty old. It's more than 10 years back, whereas the ICT has moved forward. The telecom policy has been implemented, but we don't see the telecom regulations reflecting to the telecom policy. I think these are the change that I think we all have to work together. I think Sir also knows we are actually also working with the ministry, but it's very slow. Now, if we really want to implement 5G, within what Sir said is within months, I think we really have to work all together into implementing this and revising the existing regulations because it doesn't make sense and it will not work. On top of that, 5G is not another fast technology. It's a creation of an ecosystem. We have to work much more with those other industries, health, for example, commerce, for example, finance. Everywhere we really have to work together. And right now, you see what I just mentioned, ICT is different from telecom, which is so strange. And what about we have to now have all these vertical policies integrated with health, finance, commerce. So if that doesn't happen, 5G, I don't think, even if you want to implement it, it'll be a success. So again, if I say 5G, some niche, maybe in some medicals, some hotspots, but right now, full-fledged 5G within a couple of years, I don't see that happening. But again, we all have to work together to ensure that 5G becomes successful. I didn't want to throw cold water here, but this is the reality, right?
Thank you, Taimur. I see your concern and affordability from operator perspective. If you recall that who was talking about, Salam was talking about, we have average monthly usage 2 GB per user. That is in India is 10 gig, almost 5 times. So if we can see as from industry and industry point of view how we can encourage or how we can facilitate or enable users to use more data, possibly it will make sense for. And in that perspective, 5G possibly would be a great enabler to make things much easier for everyone. So I will now move to a little bit more technical, and we have this, our big brother from Cisco. Whenever we talk or 5G, there is always a concern about security. And this is I would not say buzzword, but there are concerns everywhere because everything will be connected. Everything, whatever you do, whatever, all devices, all people is connected. So there is a visibility. From that perspective, there is a concern of security from national point of view, public point of view, even personal point of view. So Farooq Bhai, if you take us through that how this concern can be mitigated and how this 5G, I'm asking 2 questions to you because I like you, that how 5G will help this IT community, software developer community to get benefit out of it.
Thank you, Khaled Bhai. So let me talk about 5G, how this can help our development community as well as our ecosystems. So as you know, 5G will be the game changer. When we are talking about 5G, the main difference between 5G and 4G, I would say 3 of them. Higher and much broader bandwidth on 5G, then higher QoS or quality of service, and huge connectivity of connected devices. So if you look at the 4G area, the way of streaming is go through cell towers. With 5G, it's going to be small cells all around. So for 4G cell towers, you will see probably 200 to 400 users per cell towers. With 5G, you will have almost 100 times a larger capacity than the 4G. So we are talking about billions of devices, small IoT device will be connected per small cell stations. And imagine a time when 5G will come, you will see a small cell station on top of each building, or maybe on top of each car, or maybe on top of each street light. And that will become the norm. So you will have the fixed wireless connectivity, huge bandwidth at every place, everywhere you go. So 5G will be everywhere with you. And since we're talking about IoTs, and with the advent of narrowband IoTs that last for 10 years, much cheaper, and it also has two-way authentication capability, you will see more and more IoTs will be connected in these ecosystems. So when all these billions of devices are connected, we are talking about security. So one is the security of your private life. Another one is security as a cyber security or vulnerability. With the advent of 5G, you will see a team of people or expertise all across the world. They are working on how to monetize this 5G experience and do this more ransomware, more phishing, more malware and things like that. So with the advantage of 5G, it comes with all the baggage of the security and cyber security related stuff. So security is not only going to be your antivirus or malware protection or phishing. It has to be in this new technology they call zero trust cyber security. That means you are getting the security of your environment or system or even house on a continuous 24/7 basis. That means if there is any symptoms of security hacking, there will be a software or some application that will detect that environment and resolve that issue on the fly. That means right away. So that comes with new type of development possibilities within our software community over here. And since we are talking about basis, our target goal is huge going forward with the software development organization. This is an area that will be huge for our own community to develop on the cyber security. Data will be a huge possibility going forward. Even now, everybody's looking data is the key source of development. We are talking about machine learning, artificial intelligence. There is again a huge possibility within our community to develop traffic management, cyber security related software and so forth. With 5G, when 5G will really come along, we will see more and more automation and robotics will take in place. For example, recently Vodafone displayed with the 5G technology teleporting, which is like remotely providing a crane to automate and build a huge facility remotely, hundreds and miles away. So those kind of use cases will come along. That means we need to think really. We have this textile industry. We have a huge labor market. What will happen to them when the automation and robotics comes along? So we need to provide more vocational training to our local force, as well as develop an ecosystem where more and more 5G related use cases can be developed. Software development, artificial intelligence, machine learning, a lot of things that comes along with that. And that requires lots of training starting from now, vocational training. I know at the university level, we provide more on the syllabus, but pure technical training is a must for our local people and the job market in Bangladesh. But security-wise, I would say that everybody needs to be vigilant and because with all the IoTs and botnets and more way, the hackers will try to come along and try to manipulate the environment. So imagine a place at the coastal area, you built a house, you know that there may be a flood or there may be cyclone or hurricane coming. So you secure environment accordingly, right? With the 5G, the industry, the government, the financial sectors, institutions, they also need to secure their environment. Thank you.
Thank you, Farooq bhai. So we heard from our regulator, from vendors, and also the backbone provider. I think it's the most important part we'd like to know from our real guys, the operators. So we have Saeed with us, and he is very expert in technical planning. So we like to know from you, from operator perspective, what is your plan? What is the challenges you will see? How much bandwidth you will require to make these things successful? So Tutul, so it's all up to you now. Please make a convincing story that 5G can happen.
I will try, though we are really struggling, to make it, business viable. So, you were mentioning, Khalid bhai, that we are the real men, but I don't think we are the only real men. I think everybody here is the real man. So that's the first thing. But I will take the opportunity to talk on behalf of mobile industry. From the sense that I got the opportunity to work in all of the three private mobile operator as the planning head, and I was heavily engaged in their strategy making also. So if I start with our preparation, I think the first and foremost element about 5G will be spectrum once again. And Commissioning Sir was sharing the roadmap BTRC's thinking about formulating spectrum for 5G. And I would like to appreciate BTRC's movement this time, because from the very first day, they have engaged almost all of the stakeholder, the vendor, the mobile operator. So this is a good sign this time. And I will take a bit intensive technical discussion regarding spectrum. Commissioner Sir was talking about, initially we thought 2.6 giga could be a suitable option for 5G to launch. And now we are also thinking about 3.5G. You all know this 3.5G belongs to C-band in 5G terminology. And this is getting more and more popular worldwide. But whenever we are thinking about the global reference, I think this is also important to bring the local aspect in spectrum formulation. According to the latest track record, 3.3 to 3.8 giga. This is according to the band plan. This is called N78. But once again, so this is getting more and more popular. And in Asian country, the regulator has the tendency to allocate 3.4 to 3.6. This 200 megahertz for 5G to start with. Why we are different from the majority of the world reference in terms of spectrum positioning? I think the most important part is this relatively underdeveloped 4G. And as Taimur bhai was telling, is less than 20% 4G subscription right at this moment in Bangladesh. Though worldwide 4G is pretty close to 3G subscription in terms of penetration. And I was just checking in South Asian country, this is close to 1/3, somewhere 33% subscription from 4G. So we are still making some negative margin, even in terms of South Asian standard. So what is important for us is to groom 4G further. And worldwide, there is a projection that 4G subscription will touch its peak by 2022. This is for the worldwide reference, but for us, we are considering 4G will probably touch peak maybe somewhere 24 or 25 like this. This means that we have to foster 4G. That's why we are proposing some spectrum to the regulator body, which could support both 4G and 5G at the same time. And that's why 2.6 giga was one of the potential candidate in terms of formulating 4G spectrum. You take to note that 3.5G or C-band is only applicable for 5G, not for 4G. So it's a hypothetical case, like if we have got some spectrum which could support only 5G, wherever we have to support the traffic growth of 4G, and we don't have a spectrum in hand for 4G, then this will be a challenging situation for mobile operator. So this is the first thing. In terms of infrastructure, I should say heavily focus and challenging part is the transport. And Arif was trying to give us some comfort in terms of fiber. But we are still developing a robust and reliable transport network for 5G evolution within 1 hour time period would be really a tough challenge for local industry, really tough challenge. And whenever we are talking about this latency, I think transport network will contribute a big time in terms of managing latency, which is Salam Bhai was trying to say should be less than 5 milliseconds. And this means that in transport layer, the latency should be somewhere in microseconds, so that the end-to-shell candidate for I should say is all about the 5G is being evolved. So subscriber will be benefited and how for the comparison. Virtual reality GBPS, the beginning. Yes. One is this ultra reliable low latency communication, which will be used basically this smart factory together, because if there is not enough visible use case for 5G, then making a huge investment and to convince investor.
There are three cornerstones. Already it has been shared by Tutul Bhai and Taimur Bhai. The first thing is the enhanced MBB, which is the enhanced mobile broadband, then the URLCC, which is the ultra low latency and the reliability, and the massive machine type communications. So first of all, if we compare with the version, so we will have more bandwidth, so we can communicate first. But if we look into the other parts of the 5G, which is basically a complementary of the industrial 4.0 evolution, and also part of the immersive usage of customers, which currently is not in place. For example, Tutul Bhai already mentioned about the AR and VR, which is augmented reality and the virtual reality. And in coming days, there will be more use cases which will be significantly different than how we currently use or how we behave. And in high terms, we can divide it into few of the elements, like we can call some of the segments as critical IoT or massive IoT or broadband IoT. If we club in this way, what we see is actually the difference is basically in terms of what is the behavior record from network. So some of the use cases needs ultra low latency, but probably not that much speed. But some of the network needs very high speed, at the same time ultra low latency. And in some of the cases, none of them, but the numbers would be very high. So it means that the types of services will be changing significantly. So now to support these things, definitely 5G is the first thing which probably has been built, considering this that not only human beings, but also the machines will be part of the ecosystem. So definitely 5G is there. Now the point is how IoT and 5G really complements each other. So first thing is that what is IoT? IoT is definitely is an application on a physical device. If you put a software, that becomes IoT, which can communicate and bring connectivity and whatever information we require to serve the purpose. So now when we talk about this Industry 4.0 and all those use cases, it means that in many of the way we will need lots of tons of sensors and all these things which will be communicating with each other in different way. And definitely 4G, 3G not ready for this one. It's only 5G which can actually handle this all this pressure in terms of the overall bandwidth requirement, in terms of the latency requirement, and also some of you may have heard that the 5G is called basically a service-based architecture in terms of core network or in terms of transport network. So it has been built and developed in such a way that from the very beginning it can be architected in some way that the network slices, Salam was mentioned, the different slices can be produced. And the intention behind these slices are definitely to support different kind of use cases for different purposes. Now, what is our stand in terms of Grameenphone? I will not go into the business cases because I already mentioned many of the things, but rather if you look into the future things that what we are thinking. So first of all, when we think about 5G, usually when we talk about 2G, 3G, 4G or 5G, it's mostly about the radio network because that is the access technology that gets changed. But with 5G, basically, we need a lot of adaptation in the backend, and which means both core network and transport network. So Jung was mentioning that one of the very important part was the transformation to the cloud. So this is something actually we are looking, started back 2 years back, that we are trying to move everything on cloud, but definitely it's on private cloud because there are certain regulations. We can keep everything within our country boundary. So we are working on that. So that is one of the enablement in the backend we are working with. Another thing in terms of transport network, I believe that for 5G, definitely there will be use cases where we will need definite preparation in terms of transport network. So that is will be something we have to work together as a whole industry. And another point in terms of IoT, in Grameenphone, you probably know that we have launched our NB IoT, and we are the first one to be enlisted in GSMA, in the mobile NB IoT coverage map. So, and at the same time, we are actually trying to build a community. Now, IoT is basically will be a crowdsourcing, you can consider this one, and create an open community where people can come and join and create developments whenever required. So we have like Start IoT, Open IoT, and Developers Forum, this kind of initiative we have already taken. And we are working, but it is in the, it's currently in the basic level, it's developing. Definitely it's a long way to go, so we are trying to work on that. So in future, probably when the market is ready for 5G and also for the IoT, all these use cases, we can work together and develop the right network and the right ecosystem that we need to support all these things. So that's all. Thank you.
Mainul. After Grameen, I think it's time to come back to Taimur again. Taimur, we have been watching this industry for quite some time, and we notice Grameen is way ahead of other two. Having said that, what are the challenges to catching up like Grameen? I know it's a very difficult question, but possibly if you shed some light.
Yeah, Grameen is also here. And most of us were also in Grameen. No, I think Banglalink, if I talk about Banglalink, I think we started 2005, 8 years after the others had started, and then we had to catch up, and then also we built our own fiber, whereas Grameen had their own railway fiber done. So, we really wanted to become value for money operator, and that's how I think, I was also in Grameenphone, but in Banglalink, what we are proud of is actually we really played a big part in giving the mobile phones to the poorer people of Bangladesh. I think that's something that we started, and we're pretty proud of it. But of course, now we have to get out and also start how we can monetize. I think that's the challenge. Yes, Grameenphone, they had an advantage. Of course, they built a huge network. That's something, that's well done. But right now, I think, some kind of investment, if we say that investment, yes, it was initially Grameenphone had really started it, but then of course Robi, Airtel together, and then Banglalink, their investment is also not much lower than Grameenphone, if not more. I think Robi and us, we're also investing a lot nowadays. But I think again, we see that the market is so much skewed. I think that's something that we are also Robi and us, we are seeing that some kind of competition laws have to be introduced, which is not really prevailing in Bangladesh. I think that's something that we are working, and I don't think, I think it's good for everybody. It's not only for the smaller players. I think competition laws in not only in telecom, in other places too. I think that's something that we are working with the government, and we are promoting that. I think that's something that we can work. On top of that, of course, we need to invest more. I think the challenge that we have now is that if I talk about Banglalink, we are in a turnaround situation, and we would like to invest more. I think that came from our investors too, because the group chairman and everybody were here last month in Bangladesh, and they see Bangladesh as a very good market. And we would really like to invest more, but now the challenges that we have is of course the tower co license that we have now is an issue, because we are not being able to deploy towers for nearly 1.5 years because of a stalemate going on between us and the new tower cos. I think we are coming to an end. I think Arif Bhai is also one of the tower cos, and I see light at the end of the tunnel, and I think that's something that we are looking forward to. And as soon as that happens, of course, we would like to invest more and really have more coverage. I think that's something that we are wanting, right? And if I come back to 5G, I think 5G, we welcome 5G, but again, there are lots of policy changes that are really required in Bangladesh. You know, if I talk about the vertical integration of policies, if I talk about the privacy laws, we don't have very good privacy law in Bangladesh. Like 5G, it will be like when IoT comes in, everything will be seen by everybody, right? So do we have the right privacy laws in Bangladesh? I don't think so. So that's something, again, the government and us, we have to work together, because our colleague who is in Cisco also, Sir Bracknett, CEO, he also mentioned that privacy will be a very, very big thing. I think we don't have the privacy laws in Bangladesh really implemented. That's something. The spectrum pricing, I think now we need to see even, should it be as usual, the spectrum pricing, or the pricing modality has to be different. I think these are the things that we really need to work on. And again, the government and the stakeholders as us have to really work together, you know, in ensuring that 5G becomes successful in Bangladesh. I think that's something that we really need to work on.
Thank you, Taimur. I will come back to Arif again, as I promised earlier. That there are two things popped in. Like one is quality of fiber, quality of connectivity. This is there. Another things popped in, that number of towers, number of sites. So currently, only .co is kind of officially acting as a tower company. Other three, or maybe there are other three newcomer, none of them started operations. So this is a big challenge. So I know that Samit got now the very strong technical team. I see many of them here, and all the key transmission expert of the industry now with Samit. This is a good sign, and I'm pretty sure things will improve. But this quality issue, what I see from the market feedback, that quality of service, paying laws, these and that, is a problem. And you have already covered in your part, but possibly you need to give us more assurance this will get better. And when do you come with the tower?
Thank you, Khalid. Thank you for appreciating our team. Starting again with the fiber first and then tower. I give you some statistics. Like if I say network availability, out of all the roads being now constructed, country is in the explosion of development. All the roads being constructed, expanded, and the poles being shifted. Out of all of these, even these are happening on a daily, hourly basis. If I give you some statistics, that about 4,500 telco, 4,200 telco sites we have connected. 80 to 90% on sites every month have 100% uptime. 80 to 90% of these 4,200 sites every month has 100% uptime. And then remaining 10 to 20% of the sites, majority of these, maybe going up to like 90% of these ones, 20%, 90% of 20%, or 90% of the 10% has 999 uptime. And there is only 2 or 1 or sometimes some month 3% due to some disaster happening in the field. They have below 999 uptime. So network availability uptime, if you see international standard, after all these development happening, still is quite at an international standard level. So, and I've been asking BTRC that if you can please kindly, sir is here, but this is not in Spectrum department, it's in ENO department. I've been asking BTRC that if you could please set up a process or a committee through BTRC where you have a neutral checking of the quality parameter happening in transmission. Because this talk has been going on for last 3-4 years, and we are always here to serve our customers. But at least what is the uptime, what is the latency, what is the jitter, packet loss, and what is the standard, and how much we are meeting it, and who is meeting it, who is failing it. Those kind of reports should come out by submission of data every month and being submitted from both ends or accepted between both ends from the operator and the entity and service provider. Every month we reconcile this data, by the way. Every month through the mobile operator's NOC and our NOC team, through email exchange as well as sitting the number, there are always some discrepancies. They finalize these numbers because every month there has to be billing. And in the billing there is a LD, liquidated damage conditions. So there is a financial consequence if I am not meeting those SLAs. So I give you one example. I don't want to mention the name for the largest telco. On 36 months, over last 3 years, on month-by-month basis, there is not a single taka LD could be deducted. So I'm telling it on record, and I'm willing to go to any platform in BTRC or any auditor. On 36 months, on a month-by-month basis, to the largest telco, the best premium provider of the country, not a single taka LD could be provided. However, for my colleagues
They're
here...
scared of you, or I don't know.
Sorry?
Maybe they are scared of you?
No, this is the contract terms, GP is very professional, so they could not be, but yeah. But on the other hand, say for example, with Robi and Banglalink, we are working towards it because GP has been very well advanced from an early stage. So how they have designed their network is they have planned their network with our network. So the rings are smaller, rings are well planned, well synchronized. And that kind of development is going on with Banglalink and Robi, and we'll soon get there. So there are like quality of service. There were demand that quality of service should be implemented. We initially did not do it because our network were not that mature. But now, over last 1 year, we have implemented quality of service. So these things are coming step by step. Like the other synchronization I was talking about, like the synchronization protocol of 1588 V2, we are thinking of doing it now. So this kind of development will continue to come since you said we have the best of the technology team. So they will take it forward. So we are working on it. We are trying to make it as most robust as possible. Number two, on the tower, this is a bit of a challenge so far. And then a lot of the talks I hear that these new tower companies are holding it hostage, the whole industry is kind of standstill and things like that. But E.co has an advantage out of the 3 other tower companies. E.co has 10,000 towers. We have none. They have been doing business for last about 5+ years. We have just started. So there is a little bit of uneven playing field. We need to survive, and tower industry is more like a real estate industry where you need to heavily invest and then get return over 15-20 years. So in this industry, if you were to invest, there need to be a proper SLA and service level and agreement. This need to be agreed upon. That's where we had the challenge. And we felt that mobile operators really expecting what they should expect. They're expecting that they need to have a better SLA than yesterday because this tower license has been given just now. But the tower industry is quite there till the telco industry is there. So since last 20 years, the tower industry is there, the towers being co-located and the rented and all of those are there. So now the telcos are expecting, mobile operators are expecting that these new tower companies should agree upon a better SLA than what is prevailing in the market. And they should have a little lower cost than what has been prevailing in the market. And this can be applicable for E.co because they have been in the business, but we are just new in the business. So we have been telling that let us take birth. We have not taken birth yet. So we are not even baby, we are just incubating. So if you're asking for a new baby to with a better SLA and a lower price, then it will not sustain. So we said that even E.co is taking a position that we should continue as before and slowly reduce over time. So there has been that gap that we are telling that let's continue with the previous SLA and previous price, those kind of modality. The mobile operators naturally expecting a better SLA and lower price. So that's what holding the whole thing up. BTRC has been kind of very supportive at both ends to bridge the gap, and the gap has been minimized. I think we are very at the last end to close this gap. So this will happen over the next few months. I think we will be ready to serve you. Only for Summit, I cannot talk about other tower companies. You know, Summit is a big conglomerate. They have huge investment capacity. So Summit is willing to invest as much as possible. And through our fiber business, we have about 1,300 employees placed all over the country. So, you know, all the districts, all the upajilas, we have people there. So the moment we get orders, we will be able to roll out any number of sites. Thank you.
Very good to hear us, Arif. Tutul, we are talking about new technology, and I'm pretty sure technology excites you. Tell us one aspect of 5G that excites you.
The name of 5G itself is exciting. I mean, for the professional. I mean, so this is the first thing. But we have got some essence from all of the panel member talking is that 5G is not, in that sense, evolution like 3G to 4G. 4G to 5G is more than that. And so people are not talking anymore evolution, they are talking revolution in terms of 5G. So I'm sure me and like many of our engineering society in the country, waiting for 5G. I mean, another issue, if you talk about the excitement of introducing 5G is quite for a long time. You see there is always a conflict in terms of the quality of service we are providing and the quality of service customer is expecting. So there is always gap. The same thing like us and Arif bhai. Okay. So the same thing with us and the subscriber also. So by introducing 5G, we are expecting big time that this gap we should be able to minimize. And if we could get a satisfied customer base, this means a lot for us in terms of business.
Thank you. So I will be quick now. Last question to Salam. But I have a few more questions. How do you think that 5G will support developer community, especially IT industry in Bangladesh?
Thank you. I will go there. But before that, I want to make one comment on Toimur. And of course, BTRC Commissioner is here. Nowhere in the world, 5G spectrum pricing happened the same way 2G, 3G, 4G. And we cannot be different to any other country, right? Then it will be completely killed. And very simple, spectrum block 3G, 4G is 5 megahertz. Here it is 50 megahertz. Nowhere in the world, I repeat, nowhere in the world it followed the same. So I think we should not even think of that. We should not even pronounce that. That is one. And in connection with that, I will say another thing, the E-band. E-band of for transport is similar to like 5G, right? You have much wider width for microwave transmission, and it cannot follow the same traditional microwave band pricing philosophy as well. And again, same thing with E-band. In all the countries, E-band is differently priced than the legacy microwave band. I think, if you look at, when we brought 3G, 4G, I mentioned, did we know that we have that much of e-commerce, that much of ride sharing or food sharing available, local people here, right? Oh, bhai, or hungry, those things will come and our people will develop those. We didn't know. So we brought the technology, we brought together the platform here, and the people have contributed. So we do not know. In fact, we are saying EMBB and then FWA, smart factories, autonomous car. We are saying this, but probably we do not know what use cases our community will bring. Right? We have talented people, the younger generation, they can think outside boundary, and I am pretty sure they will bring up use cases which we do not know. We are not talking those. So our task is to bring the technology, to give them the platform, and the opportunity is humongous. Of course, like Farooq Bhai and all these people, the competencies, the vision, these people are bringing at in the country will be guiding the younger generation here. So I think the opportunity is enormous for us only to give the opportunity to them in their hand, and they will create magic. Thank you.
Salam. June, from your perspective and Huawei global experiences, and you have been in Bangladesh for quite some time, what are the use cases you think that Bangladesh community should prioritize initially and gradually move in the other use cases?
Okay. Actually, first of all, I appreciate what Mr. Salam mentioned. You know, talking about the use cases of 5G, it's really struggling. You know, we had a lot of discussions about that, not only now about 5G. You think about 10 years ago when we talked about 4G, we had the same concern. What will 4G can be used? And what, even earlier, when we talked about 3G, same thing. Oh, 2G, we can use it for call already. You know, what could the 3G use? So, for example, in China, we had such a kind of debates or discussions 2 years ago. And some people raised their hand and said that, see, if we don't have this kind of ICT infrastructure, could Alibaba come into? Could Tencent come into? Could the DJ, the drone company, I think maybe many people know that, right? Maybe you play that drone. Could that company come into? No possibility. So this is the first thing I appreciate what Mr. Salam mentioned. And then talking about Bangladesh, in my opinion, maybe there are several scenarios could be feasible for 5G. So the first one is about the high-end users group. Those people need a better quality of network. They want to enjoy VR, 4K video, whatever. They want this. So in cities like Dhaka, Chittagong, a group of users, they need this kind of service. So this is the first thing. Second thing is about the rural digital divide. There, like Tutubai mentioned, the EMBB. So because, you know, now in Bangladesh, FTTH, the penetration is around 16%. In China, it's 91%, meaning 91% of house can access to fiber directly. But in Bangladesh, it's difficult. I think it's almost impossible. That's too costly, even for NDTN or for operators. So what can we do for them? Those people who cannot access to internet, or they can, but the price is very high. So 5G is an option, because per byte price is dramatically lower compared to 4G or 3G. So we think in rural area, we can use 5G and then provide a CPE, the terminal like router, to offer high-speed internet to the rural people and to reduce the digital gap, digital divide in this country. This is the second scenario. The third scenario, as you mentioned, whatever about the smart manufacturing or any other industry. I'm thinking if it's possible, the regulatory or the government can try to set some zone, just like what Thailand is doing. Thailand now set a zone named the EEC, East Economic Corridor. So let's set this zone as like a new town for demonstration, to upgrade all the society and to upgrade all the country, especially the industries. So I also proposed to the Minister Jabbar, how if government consider to set up some demonstration zone with this kind of facilities there and attract some either local company or foreign companies to set up some factory or wherever to show this kind of capability, to show this kind of competence, what we call Industry 4.0. So because Bangladesh needs this, I see like local government now is trying to attract more foreign investors, more companies to set up local assembly lines here. And you know, now around Bangladesh, the other governments, like I mentioned, Thailand, and even Bangladesh, Cambodia, they are very eager to launch 5G. Bangladesh actually, compared to them, maybe we will be almost 1 year behind, because Cambodia already launched the 5G. Sri Lanka already launched the 5G, and Malaysia already launched the 5G. So we need to catch up. Why they are eager to launch 5G is not only because it's advanced, it's also because the government takes this as an infrastructure of the country. It's an infrastructure. It's just like a highway. So this is not only a thing about ICT, it's about the country. So this is what we are thinking. Besides this, I want to say another thing, which is that, you know, now we have 2G, 4G, 3G, all of in Bangladesh, all of these technologies. And as you mentioned, a very good point. Now the penetration of 2G, 4G smartphone is very low. So how to migrate it fast? Because honestly speaking, in the near future, if we have 5G in this country, then we have 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G all together. It's a big burden for operators. No mentioning like CapEx, but also like OpEx, thinking about all the equipment are consuming the powers, the space of the equipment rooms. That's a huge burden of not only the operators, but also the countries. So in many countries now, they migrate users from 2G to 3G to 4G to 5G, and then they shut down either 2G or 3G to save the cost. So it's about all countries' efficiency and the cost. So like China, we have planned to shut down 3G. Like in Thailand, they also have the plan very soon to shut down 3G. So I hope maybe government can have set some regulations to encourage operators and to encourage the industry to migrate users to 3G or 4G, and then shut down one of these networks. And this will benefit all of industries and benefit all of the subscribers and the society. Thank you.
Thank you, Jun. So before we take few questions from the audience, I'm coming back to our Honorable Commissioner of BTRC. You have been hearing what panelists have said so far. What would be your guidance to us and to the industry about 5G readiness? What should we do? And give us your advice.
থ্যাংক ইউ, ধন্যবাদ আপনাকে। যতটা সহজ মনে করেছিলাম বেশ ততটা সহজ না, বেশ কঠিন হয়ে যাচ্ছে দেখা যাচ্ছে। ভবিষ্যতে প্যানেলিস্ট কাকে কাকে রাখবেন চিন্তা করে রাখতে হবে। তো আসলে যে টাওয়ার শেয়ারিং গাইডলাইন বলেন বা ফাইবার বলেন, এর উদ্দেশ্য হচ্ছে যে আপনাদের অপারেশন কস্টটা কমানো। অপারেশন কস্ট কমালে আপনার অন্যদিকে টাকাটা ব্যবহার করতে পারবেন। এখন নতুন কোম্পানি যখন আসে তখন তাকে আমাদের একটু স্বাগত জানানো উচিত, এবং যে অপারেটর আছে তারও ইচ্ছা যে আমি যদি নতুন কোম্পানিকে কাজ দিই আমি কেন ভালো কাজ নেব না, এটা তাদেরও কনসার্ন। এটাকেও অ্যাড্রেস করতে হবে, এবং নতুন কোম্পানি যারা ইভলভ করলো তাদেরকে আসতে হবে। তাহলে আমাদের অপারেটিং কস্ট কিংবা যেটা ক্যাপেক্স বলে সেটাকে কমে আসবে। এখন হয়তো আপনাদের ক্যাপেক্সের উপরে চলছে, পরে তাদের নিজেদের ক্যাপেক্সে তারা রান করতে পারবে। তো এই সমস্ত চিন্তা করি আমরা এই যে টাওয়ার শেয়ারিং গাইডলাইন বলবো এনটিটিএন, এই এনটিটিগুলোকে নিয়ে আসা হয়েছে, প্যাসিভ ইনফ্রাস্ট্রাকচার শেয়ারিং। তো এই জিনিসগুলো খুব একটা উচ্চারিত হয়নি এখানে, যে আসলে এটা তারা হেল্প করছে ইন্ডাস্ট্রিকে। টাওয়ার শেয়ারিং গাইডলাইন আওতায় যে সমস্ত টাওয়ার কোম্পানিগুলো আসছে, বা এনটিটিএন যে গাইডলাইন তার আওতায় যে সমস্ত কোম্পানিগুলো আসছে। এখন অপটিক্যাল ফাইবার যেই করা হয়েছে সারা দেশব্যাপী, আমি খুব খুশি হলাম যে আমরা সাবমিটের সঙ্গে খুব একটা বসি না, ফ্রিকোয়েন্সি উইংটা খুব একটা বসে না, কারণ যার বেতার তরঙ্গ নাই তার সঙ্গে আমার খুব একটা সম্পর্ক নেই। যার
সুতরাং উনি যেহেতু হার্ডওয়্যার প্রোভাইড করেন, অপটিক্যাল ফাইবার প্রোভাইড করেন, উনি আসলে আমাদের সঙ্গে খুব একটা যায় না। কিন্তু আমরা যখন 5G নিয়ে বসলাম তখন আমাদের মনে হলো, সবাই প্রশ্নটা রেজ করলো যে আমাদের এনটিটিএনরা কি আসলেই ক্যাপাবল কিনা এই বিশাল ডেটাটা যে ফ্লো করবে সেটার ক্যাটার করার জন্য। তো সাবমিটের কথা শুনে আমি আশ্বস্ত ছিলাম যে তারা যথেষ্ট কেয়ারফুলি তার কেবল লে করেছে। সরকারের মাথায় এগুলা নাই তা না, তারা আছে। যেরকম থার্ড সাবমেরিন কেবল চলে আসছে, সেটা আসলে আরও এখন তো হয়তো 2400 গিগাবাইট ক্যাপাসিটি সাবমেরিন কেবলে, সেটা আরও বাড়বে। ইন্টারন্যাশনাল যোগাযোগটা আরও স্মুথ হবে। নতুন একটা এনটিটিএন আসছে বাহন, তারাও কিছু কাজ করবে, তাতে আপনার অ্যাপিয়ান, সেখানে কিছু অপটিক্যাল ফাইবার লে হবে। এখন 1,19,000 কিলোমিটার ফাইবার আছে বলে আমি যতদূর জানি। তো এই জিনিসগুলোকে আসলে তাদেরকে বিটিসিএল বলছি যে আমরা যে যার যার কাজ তার তার করতে হবে। যদি জনগণ না চায় 5G আসবে না, অপারেটর না চাইলেও আসবে না। যদি ভেন্ডর ইকুইপমেন্ট তৈরি করে তাহলেও আসবে না, যদি গভর্নমেন্ট না চায় তাহলেও আসবে না। সবার সম্মিলিত চেষ্টা এবং সবার মার্কেটিং স্বার্থটাকে সামনে রেখেই 5Gর দিকে আমাদের এগিয়ে যেতে হবে। যেহেতু এটা বলা হচ্ছে ইন্ডাস্ট্রিয়াল রেভলিউশন, আমাদের চিন্তার মধ্যেও কিছু রেভলিউশনের চিন্তা আনতে হবে। কিছু এমন কিছু করতে হবে যে এই রেভলিউশনটা থেকে আমরা যেন পিছপা না হই বা এটা থেকে আমরা বঞ্চিত না হই। আমাদের যেই জিডিপি গ্রোথ আছে তাতে যদি 1%ও যোগ হয় শুধুমাত্র 5Gর জন্য, তাহলে এখন 44তম বিশাল যে ইকোনমি আমাদের, তাতে বিশাল একটা ইকোনমিতে একটা বিরাট একটা গেইন সৃষ্টি হবে। এখানে আইওটি জিপি নিজেই আইওটি নিয়ে অনেক দূর এগিয়ে গেছে আমি যতদূর জানি। আমার কাছে কতগুলো জিনিস খেয়াল রাখতে হবে। একটা যেন আমি একটা গল্প বলি, যেরকম আমেরিকাতে যদি আপনি দাঁত তুলতে যান তাহলে যেই কস্টটা হয়, আপনি যদি আমেরিকা থেকে ফ্লাই করে ইজিপ্টে আসেন, পিরামিড ঘুরে টুরে দেখেন এবং দাঁত তোলেন এবং ব্যাক টু দ্য আমেরিকা যান, সেই কস্টিং ইজ চিপার। সুতরাং আমি মনে করছি যে এখানে বসে আপনারা এমন কোনো কাজ করতে পারবেন রিয়েল টাইমে, যেটা বলে রিমোট সার্জারি। ঠিক রিমোট সার্জারি আসবে বা ড্রাইভারলেস কারই আসবে সেটাই কথা না। আমরা সাধারণত যেটা প্রিডিক্ট করি সেটা আসে না, বা অন্য আরেকটা ইনহ্যান্স কিছু আসে। আমরা যখন 2005-এ গুগল আর্থ ডাউনলোড করতাম, জাস্ট খেলার ছলে শহরগুলো দেখতাম। এখন এটার জন্য উবার চলছে, আপনার ফুড ডেলিভারি চলছে, হোটেল বুকিং চলছে, নানা জিনিস আপনি এখন বিভিন্ন আপনার লোকেশন সাইটে ঢুকতে পারছেন। এগুলো আমরা চিন্তা করি নাই যে আমি উবার চলতে পারবো। আমার চাকরি হয়তো বেশি দিন নাই, আমি গেলে এখন চাকরি চলে গেলে আমি গাড়ি কিনবো না, চিন্তা করেছি আমি একটা উবার নিয়ে চলাচল করবো টু লোয়ার দ্য কস্ট। সুতরাং যেই টেকনোলজি আসে সেই জিনিসটা যেই সমস্ত কথা বলে আসে তার চেয়ে বেশি কিছু দেয়, হয়তো বা সেটা দেয় না অথবা দেয়, কিন্তু বেশি কিছু দেয়। এই বেশি কিছু পাওয়ার জন্য এবং এই ওয়ার্কফোর্সটাকে কাজে লাগানোর জন্য আমাকে 5Gতে যেতে হবে। এটা সরকারের সদিচ্ছা, আমাদের সবারই সদিচ্ছা। এখন যে প্রাইসিংগুলোর কথা বলা হয়েছে এগুলো আমাদের মাথায় নেই তা না। আমরা জানি যে থার্ড ওয়ার্ল্ডের প্রাইস একটু বেশি, ব্যাংকক বা থাইল্যান্ড, যারা ইন্ডিয়ার প্রাইসিং, এরা খুব শীঘ্রই 5Gতে যাচ্ছে। এবং 5Gতে যাওয়ার সময় অপারেটররা যেই কথাগুলো বলছে, ওনারা কোনো ভিন্ন কথা বলছেন না, একই কথা বলছেন। মেবি প্রবলেম ইজ সেম। সুতরাং আমরাও নজরে রাখছি যে থাইল্যান্ডে কি হচ্ছে বা ইন্ডিয়াতে কি হচ্ছে, যে বলে নিশ মার্কেটে আসবে, হয়তো নিশ মার্কেট দিয়ে শুরু করব 5Gর জন্য। তো এখানে এই 2G থেকে 3G আসার সময় বলা হচ্ছিল যে 2G চলে না 3G কেন, আবার 3G থেকে 4Gতে যখন আসছি তখন বলছে 3G চলে না 4G কেন, আবার 4G থেকে 5G যখন আসছে তখন 4G চলে না 5G কেন, এই কথা আসছে। এটাকে আপনারা একটা কোটেড একটা পজিটিভ রিমার্ক হিসেবে মনে রাখেন যে এরকম করেই এগিয়ে যেতে হবে, এগুলো করতে হবে এবং এগুলো ইমপ্লিমেন্ট করতে হবে। খুবই মনোযোগের সঙ্গে কাজ করছে। এখন আমি জানি আমার যে কর্মকর্তা আছে, সিনিয়র কর্মকর্তা, উনি এটা নিয়ে কাজ করছেন। এখানে আর কোনো ইস্যু কি বাদ পড়লো? আমি ধন্যবাদ জানাই যে এখানে এরকম একটা অ্যারেঞ্জ করার জন্য। যে কথাগুলো আমি অন্য জায়গায় হয়তো বলতে পারতাম না, এখানে বলছি। ওনারা যে কথাগুলো আমার সামনে বলতে পারতেন না সেগুলো মনে হয় বলছেন, যার ফলে গ্যাপটা কমে আসবে। আমরা আসলে একসঙ্গেই কাজ করতে চাই। অপারেটর ছাড়া পলিসি মেকার চলবে না, জনগণ ছাড়া অপারেটরও নাই। সুতরাং এখানে আমার বক্তব্য শেষ করছি।
Thank you, Aminul Hassan Bhai. The panelists, you have been amazing. Trust me. Guys, you have been more amazing. Last 2 hours, patiently you heard from us. It's really, we are really thankful that it was very passionate listening from you guys. So we have this great panelist, and this is a unique opportunity. We have the top leaders, thought leaders from the industry. We will expect that you take this opportunity and ask few questions from your side so that we can feel that we have done good job in last 2 hours. So floor open for maybe 2-3 questions. I would appreciate if you take this chance.
My question is specifically for Tutul Bhai. Bhaiya, we have seen that during 3G as well as in 4G, Robi had advertised the generation a bit differently, say 4.5G. So is there a possibility that 5G would be 5.5G, or seeing that, you know, the visibility that we have about 5G, would it be less than 5G? Can it be also 4.9G or something? Thank you.
So my realization is that our objective using this different version fulfill their purpose. This is the first thing. So people is talking about this, and you are asking this question. For 5G, I think 5G should be good enough. There is no necessity to fraction it. I don't think so. Thank you.
Any more queries?
Hello. So what I've been trying to say that we have discussed so far that how many more sites we need, and how it's a big investment to deploy 5G. But my question is, I work at the Summit Communication, by the way. The problem we face in remote areas that sometimes power goes down, maybe it's a electricity problem. But if we deploy so much devices, and so many devices at once to run it continuously. So how, if there is any problem in power or battery backup, so how do we thinking about it to make it happen continuously and smoothly? Thank you.
Who should take this? Arif?
I'm not taking it to answer it, but to pass it on. But just to say a couple of things. The battery backup need to be there. The generator, portable generator, need to be there. But you know, there was this recent Bulbul, probably 3,000 base station countrywide were down for a decent number of hours. And you know, power is still a challenge because the power generation is there, but power transmission seems to be a challenge with the government. So I don't know whether, and it mainly affects the access operator, like mobile operator, the most. Any initiative going on with the government to look into this? I would just request my mobile operator colleagues to say something.
No, I think we are working with the power authorities too. I think one good thing that BTRC really helped us was that for the fiber. Now fiber is considered as a national critical asset, right? But still not implemented. I think that's what we also have to work with the power authorities, that the power which is there by us, the mobile operators, that have to be also critical sites, to be considered as critical sites, because if power goes out, actually the communication goes out. Not only for us, even the law enforcement agencies are using our sites, our communication system. So that's something that we need to really, again, continue working amongst us, and also we would request BTRC. They have been very helpful actually as of now with the fiber. I think with the same thing with the power, I think we can work together. I think that's something that we can always improve on. Yes.
Okay, I want to add one word here. One thing I want to emphasize is that when we have data traffic, it's different from voice. Now, according to our report, in Bangladesh, almost 70% of traffic happens in indoor. And in some other countries, particularly in China, China Mobile, it's nearly 90% of data traffic is indoor. And now we see in Bangladesh, especially in cities, the indoor coverage is a problem. So I want to remind that we need to pay more attention at indoor coverage. And then, as you asked, how many more sites needed? Honestly speaking, we had some simulation. It needs to be almost double, or even more than double of the sites. But of course, ROI will be a challenge, because here the tariff is quite low. So we need to look at the business case. So that's a challenge. And then about the power, I think now it's getting better, because I noticed that most of the operators now is modernizing the battery. Now they use lithium battery, which will be much better. And you also try some solar power sites. That will improve the situation of power supply. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. That was exactly my point. Coming from states, what I have seen is for the extreme rural areas, obviously you have electricity issues, but they are using solar and wind power. In Bangladesh, we have that similar situation. In rural areas, we have this huge digital divide, and obviously power is an issue. So if government takes some positive action in helping the local business communities regarding solar power and the tariff and the import cost and all the other things, and if they are willing to work hand in hand closely with the local operators like Robi, Grameen, Banglalink, and also the ISPs, providing solar power towers or cellular signal processing centers, that will tremendously help. This is an issue we need to address very properly with the government, because unless we get some type of incentives, I don't think the business community will go there, because the cost will be really high. At the end of the day, it's all about ROI. If we want to invest, how much money we are going to get at the end. And this 5G is a fixed wireless broadband technology. So we are talking about fixed wireless. So the 5G will reach each and every corner of the country. And the tower and the cell signals will be the key in providing that type of service. NTTN, the fiber optics, will play a key role, but at least if we could provide all the incentives to the telecom operators and tower builders, that will definitely help.
Thank you, Farooq Bhai. With that, we come to the end of the session. It was absolutely wonderful session. We learned a lot. And 5G is coming, it's knocking the door, and 5G is a game changer. That was the theme, and we tried to convince you this will be a really game changer. This will integrate telecom and IT. And we have the honor, we have the Syed Al-Maskobi here. He's the president of BASIS. He changed BASIS last 2 years with his leadership. You're talking about $5 billion export from the ICT. I can tell you, it cannot happen without 5G, because 5G will enable a new doors, because we talk about everything will be connected, all people will be connected, and this connection needs apps. And the good part of this, if we can, whatever we will develop, this will not be boundary for Bangladesh. This is the beauty of this. If we can have a good solution, if we have a good apps, we can market this across the world. With that, thank you very much. It was a very wonderful session, and I'd like to now request our President, Al-Maskobi, to conclude and wrap up and honor the panelists. Thank you.
Thank you very much to each of you to be kindly be present here at the Basic Soft Expo at this seminar. And thank to all of you to be here, to be present in this Sunday morning and, listening to the wonderful speakers. As Khalid Bhai has just said, that 5G is a game changer. It will change the game. আমাকে অনেকে জিজ্ঞেস করে যে 3G তেই পাই না 4G হয় না এখন 5G নিয়ে কেন কথা বলেন এটা কিন্তু অনেক সাংবাদিক আমাকে জিজ্ঞেস করে আমি এটা বাংলায় বলছি যে কারণ এটা এই যোগ যেহেতু আমাকে শুনতে হয় তো আমার যেটা এখানে আমি শিওর এখানে অনেকের মনে এই প্রশ্নটা থাকতেই পারে যে 4G সব জায়গায় পাওয়া যায় না এখন 5G নিয়ে কেন আমরা কথা বলছি আসলে আমাদেরকে জিনিসটাকে একটু অন্যভাবে দেখতে হবে যে যদি আমরা কথা বলার কথা চিন্তা করি বা ব্রাউজিং কথা চিন্তা করি তাহলে তো 4G ও দরকার নেই 3G is enough for browsing or even মানে watching video on YouTube that's fine তাহলে আমরা 5G নিয়ে কেন কথা বলছি 5G নিয়ে কথা বলছি অন্য একটা কারণে because all the technologies that are going to come in the fourth industrial revolution such as say artificial intelligence or robotics or say IoT the big thing IoT so smart cities and all these things smart technologies, all these technologies that we are talking about, if we want to implement those technologies, we need 5G. আমরা যদি মনে করি যে না না আমাদের ওগুলি রোবোটিক্স দরকার নাই আমরা এখন আরো 5 বছর পরে নিব তাহলে অন্য কথা আমরা পিছিয়ে থাকব সব সারা পৃথিবী থেকে সারা পৃথিবী এগিয়ে যাবে আইওটি টাইওটি দিয়ে রিমোটলি তারা কাজ করবে এডুকেশন দিবে রিমোট সার্জারি হবে ইত্যাদি হবে আমরা চুপ করে বসে থাকব সেটা অন্য কথা কিন্তু সেটা তো আমরা চাই না অবশ্যই রাইট উই ওয়ান্ট টু বি at the same par at that same level as all the Western countries are, all the other developing countries are. So, ওই টেকনোলজিগুলো যদি ইমপ্লিমেন্ট যদি আমরা করতে চাই তাহলে আমাদের we need a 5G network. So that is why we need 5G, not the other way around. যে 5G আমরা চাপিয়ে দিচ্ছি so that আপনারা ভালো করে নাটক দেখেন আর গান দেখেন তা না that is not the case. But anyway, I'm sure you all know this. Thank you once again, all of you. আমি আপনাদের সবাই ইনভাইট করব যে আমাদের যে হলগুলো আছে হল 2, 3 and 4 আপনারা একটু এই সেমিনারের পর একটু সময় থাকলে একটু ঘুরে দেখবেন আজকে রাত 8টা পর্যন্ত আমাদের এই এক্সপো চলছে এই সফট এক্সপো 2020 ইজ দ্য লার্জেস্ট সফটওয়্যার এন্ড আইটিএস এক্সপো ইন সাউথ এশিয়া আপনারা যদি দেখেন গিয়ে সত্যি দেখবেন যে আমাদের ছেলেমেয়েরা কত ভালো ভালো কাজ করছে কত ভালো সফটওয়্যার তৈরি করেছে কত ভালো সার্ভিসেস করেছে কত ইনোভেটিভ ইন্টারন্যাশনাল স্ট্যান্ডার্ডের কাজ তারা করছে এবং আপনারা যদি যান আপনাদের নিজের মধ্যে একটা গর্ববোধ তো হবেই একটা you will be inspired and you will grow confidence in the local companies in the local software companies and I urge all of you যে আপনারা সবাই মিলে আমাদেরকে ব্লেস করবেন আমাদেরকে সাপোর্ট করবেন ইনক্লুডিং অল অফ ইউ যে আমরা যাতে আমাদের যে টার্গেট রয়েছে যে সোনার বাংলা তৈরি করার যে ডিজিটাল বাংলাদেশ তৈরি করার সেইটা যাতে আমরা করতে পারি we need all your support to fulfill our agenda to fulfill our dream to create the digital Bangladesh and we need your support to we want to develop or build this digital Bangladesh with our own resources so of course we will need your help, no doubt about it, but the implementation has to be done locally. The implementation, we will use technology from foreign countries, no doubt about that, but the implementation has to be done locally. So that is the thing that we need your support. Thank you very much. Welcome to Soft Expo 2020.